Brad, what do you remember most about Al playing against you guys in the playoffs last year?
I remember how active he was defensively. You know, I felt like in transition when we were trying to, you know, beat them down the court, I felt like he was standing at the free throw line with his arms out the whole series. So I thought that, you know, the way that I thought transition both ways last year hurt us, and he was a big part of that.
And just how much of a difference would be having him on your team this year?
Yeah, I mean, obviously we're thrilled he's here. You know, like all of our other guys, we need him to play at a good level, and I know he's preparing, you know, the way he always prepares, and looking forward to competing.
After 82 games, how is playoff basketball different now?
Well, I think, you know, there's no more back-to-backs. There's, you know, you're going to get everybody's best shot every given night. And there's nothing more fun to compete in is postseason basketball. So, you know, everybody feels that way. It's just not your team. So you're going to have to play really well on both sides of the ball to have a chance to win. And I would say that the biggest thing is that, you know, possessions become even that much more important. And they're already really important.
After a full 82-game season, how was the health of the team?
Yeah, I think we're about as good as you can expect to be, knock on wood, right? You know, everybody practiced today, 15 guys deep. I don't know if that's happened. I don't remember the last time that happened. Maybe it didn't happen all year, but it certainly has been a rare occasion.
Are you satisfied with the progress you guys have made on the defensive glass?
On the defensive glass? Yeah, I mean, I think we've gotten, over time, our numbers were a little bit better, and we had some really good defensive rebounding moments. We had some great stretches of it. None of that matters if we don't rebound in this series. So we know that that's really important. We know that getting bodies is really important. It's been a big part of our discussion. And you know, soon it'll be talk is done, right? You just have to do it.
But is part of that just, I know you had to get the guards more involved in that part of it?
We're going to have to do that as a team. You know, whether you want to call it rebounding by committee, we call it 5-man rebounding on every possession. Everybody's got to be engaged in the glass.
Brad, the Bulls improved significantly starting around March 18th. What's different about them?
We're starting Mirotic at the 4, which helps spacing a great deal, and he's knocking down 42% of his threes since the break. You know, Rondo has been shooting it great. Jimmy Butler's been shooting it great. Now getting Wade back and getting him healthy. I mean, this is a really proven group of players. And, you know, on top of that, what we just talked about with Lopez's and Felicio and Portis's roles and rebounds, they put you in a predicament because you've got to be able to protect the paint. You've got to be able to finish plays. But the extra spacing certainly is difficult. You know, it's a good team. Playing good teams now.
How challenging is it preparing for, like you mentioned, the veterans and a Dwayne Wade who is coming back and you're not really sure what you're going to get, or a Rondo who has a tendency to step up in these situations?
I've watched those guys for way before I was in the NBA. I'm pretty sure we're going to get great shots from both of them.
Al's not about stats. What is Al about?
Al's about winning. That's what he's about.
In what way? How does he help you win?
Well, he helps you win because he does every little thing on both ends of the court, and the way that he carries himself off the court, and when he talks, people listen, and he says the right things, and all those other things. But I think, you know, that was a short answer earlier, but it's about as good of a compliment as I can give.
Did you ever talk to him about the wall scoring?
He'll make the right basketball play. You know, the right basketball play may not be scoring. It may be making the extra pass. It may be hitting the cutter. It may be setting a screen. You know, he'll make the right basketball play, and that's a lot more important than forcing, you know, a scoring idea, in my opinion.
Is he sort of the definition of the guy who knows who he is?
Yeah, Yeah, I think we always talk about there's a point in time in people's careers where you really become aware of what you do best and how you impact winning and add value to a team. A lot of guys probably don't find that as early in their careers because they're trying to survive. But he's really comfortable in who he is, and I think that's a really it probably gives you a great deal of peace when you're on the floor, knowing what you do best and sticking to those things.
Brad, what's the game plan for these 2 days? What did you guys do today? What do you plan to do tomorrow?
A little bit more up and down, a little bit more competitive. We were taped today. We'll be lighter tomorrow. Get ready to go on Sunday.
Do you feel like you're in a good spot, confidence-wise? Do you feel like you're right where you want to be?
We just have to focus on playing well. I don't have any doubt that our guys are excited to compete. They've earned the right to play in the playoffs, and they've earned the right to compete at a high level, and so that's what we're focused on. And I think you earn your confidence with your preparation and how you play throughout the year, and done a lot of good things. But we got to play with a great deal of purpose and the right preparation on Sunday.
How much do you take from the season series, from the regular season, going into this postseason?
Yeah, I mean, it was close as you would expect. They're really, really talented. And, we played those first few games against them when they were playing all those guys before all the injuries. And then, the last couple, there haven't been there's been at least one guy missing for them. And then Avery was missing in the game at Chicago. So I think you can take a lot from all 4 games, but each game in the series will be its own entity. It'll be decided by a whole new set of plays.
Marcus, Avery, and Jay are going to be covering a lot of Jimmy Butler over the series. How confident?
I would assume so.
Assumedly, how confident do you feel in their defensive intensity and commitment and awareness in the coming weeks rolling into the playoffs?
Those guys are going to give tremendous effort. They're going to study. They're going to be as locked in as you can be. Jimmy Butler's still going to make a shot, right? He's still going to find his spot and raise up and make a really tough shot that you have to tip your hat and run down the court and guard, or run down the court and try to score and come back and try to do it again. You just got to make it as tough as possible on the Wades, Butlers, guys like that, because they're going to make plays. But our guys are committed to doing what they do best and trying to make it as tough as possible. You're never gonna eliminate guys like that. Your goal is to try to make it so that you can make it. They have to take a lot of shots to score, or at least feel you the whole game.
Final question for Brad.
Rondo and Mirotic weren't really in the rotation when you guys beat them last time. Do you think that the way that their games have really come alive over the last few weeks changed the way you scout them?
Yeah, I mean, Rondo played in the game here, but Mirotic did not. So again, I think that's why the first couple of games, as you look at them, those guys were the guys that were playing then. But if you watch their last couple of games, especially the Orlando and Brooklyn games at home, they were really firing on all cylinders. Not only the guys that we've talked about, but then, Zipser had a huge game off the bench in the last game. Jerry and Grant has had the big games. Portis and Felicio have been a nice combination off the bench. So they've got a lot of good things going. I'm sure they feel great coming into the playoffs. And we're going to have to play really well.
Thank you.